David Wallace. I was Chief Guest to Cornet Elliot Turnbull in 1987. It was a great experience and a huge honour. Actually, my first memories of the common riding go back to Wilton Primary School. We're talking about the early 50s here. The headmaster was a Mr. Gibb, might be remembered by some of you. And he assured us that if we sang well when the cornet came, and the cornet might ask us to be given, for us to be given a day off. And of course, when this actually happened and was granted, there was a wild cheer went up, huge anticipation for the whole event, of course. Well, we were completely uncontrollable afterwards, and they let us off school immediately, never mind just the Friday. I hope that tradition continues. As to the colour busing itself, I'm pretty certain I gave a speech which would be completely unmemorable for almost everybody there. I was working a lot with computers at the time, and there was a bit of a controversy, that's a very polite word, in the Town Hall, because the Town Hall was trying to install a new computer system unsuccessfully. So I talked about computers in the Town Hall at the time, and it didn't go down like a lead balloon, but it didn't raise the roof, is all I can say. However, my mother was, of course, very proud. My father would have been immensely proud. He died about 9 years before. But my dad, Bobby Wallace, sang a lot at the colour busing and on other occasions. Actually, I've got a confession that I never actually followed the cornet on a horse. I'm very proud to have had a cousin, Haig Hinton, who was cornet, I think it was 1976 or so. I met Elliot again after many years in the car park at Johnson's of Elgin, and we recognised one another immediately. It was actually great. This was when I was en route to the Bill McLaren Foundation and sneaking in for a cheeky bacon roll. The closest I actually got to following the cornet was actually with Hawick Saxhorn Band. And that was another great experience for me. These were the glory days of the band. So for my party piece, I'm going to play something on the tenor horn. So I've regressed 60 years and picked up the tenor horn again. I'm sorry if I'm a bit underdressed. I tried to find my cornet's tie from 1987, but it must have got lost in the travels in between now and then. But there's a decent donation going to any Hawick charity that you want if you can find a cornet's tie from 1987 to offer me. Thank you. So I'm going to play one verse from Bonnie Teviotdale. Thanks for the chance to contribute. Safe out, safe in.
Ian Landales, on behalf of the Common Riding Committee, asked if I'd be willing to contribute for about 3 or 4 minutes, either reflecting on my experiences as chief guest or give a party piece. Well, I don't have a party piece, so I thought I would reflect a quarter of a century ago in 1996, when I had the enormous honour of being the chief guest. One remembers the pageantry, the Tyri Odin flag carried that year so proudly by Cornet Alan Weir, the experience of the hut, which is unforgettable, the Friday afternoon on the moor, and of course in the evening, the splendid ball. There were, over those hours, many an amusing and lighter moments, and I'll never forget starting with the Provost's breakfast and going in, really quite early, I thought, to being offered a drink. Well, I thought they meant tea or perhaps a coffee, But no, it was something a little stronger. And I thought, well, I can't start drinking whiskey at this time of the morning. However, a great friend of mine, the late Adam Bell from Hawick, he said, if I was you, I would drink rum and milk because you've got a long way to go today. Leaving the town hall with the provost, who was my namesake Tom Hogg, and his wife Nettie, and my wife and myself, we climb into this most wonderful stretch limo. And it was a very, very hot morning. And I said to Tom, do you think you could open the window? And he said, no, we're not opening the windows. I want to keep them up. I'm frightened we get some missiles. And I said, missiles? Anyway, it was the year of the female participation controversy. And anyway, after a bit, there was no missiles. And I noticed that Tom had lowered his window. So I thought, well, I'd better do the same. Could I find the button in this marvellous limo to get the window down? And so I asked Tom, I said, Tom, how do you get the window down? And he said, oh, it's very easy, you just call the handle. And I said, handle? I thought a machine like this would have a button. Anyway, we finally got it down. And the whole of the over 24 hours was absolutely amazing and just wonderful. And my abiding memory was how well the program of events were organized throughout. It was obvious that the 1996 committee had put in an amazing amount of work, as they have done this year, the second and hopefully your last virtual common riding. Safe out, safe in.
'Twas a cold winter's night at the start of the year. We were sitting guy cosy, the bell I did hear. No expecting a visitor, I thought it guy queer. But standing out there was Provost Mucketeer. Come in and sit down and let's hear your crack. Dinna stand out there and not off a wet mat. We blathered about this in the general play. Then he got round to say why this visit the day. I've come to ask if you'll oblige in a task. You'd any donny pieces or a big thermos flask? I can be the past, you would gie it your best. I wondered if he'd consider being my common riding chief guest. I'm no often stuck for something to say, but the Provost's kind words ne'er blew me away. I need to gie justice to this invitation and ask for a minute for my consideration. It didn't take long to reply to his line. Invitations like this come once in a lifetime. I said I would do the very best I can muster and gie my address without any fluster. The topic he stated was up to mysel. It'll be Hawick and its toon folk, money I know well. 20 minutes is the maximum time that's allowed to talk about townsfolk that's made us all proud. I started to write and jot it all down, but there's so much to say about this grey old town. We've got sportsmen and women, the pride of the land, entertainers, explorers, and money mere at hand. The cornet's been picked. What an enjoyable night. He's doing a grand job with his left and his right. Time whistles by. He's got yin last smoker. The colour bussin' night is getting ever closer. The taxi arrived, we were dressed in our best. To the town hall we'd gone to meet all the rest. A flash pin to my suit be a bonny young maid. My heart like a musk trooper afore the next raid. We were shown to our seats, the best in the hoose. Be ex-cornet Nickel, better known as Moose. The banner was burst, what a glorious sight. Be cornets lost Victoria, and she did it right. Introductions all done with the help of the band. In nae time at all, it was my turn to stand. To gie my address in front of the crowd. A wee bit nervous, but ever so proud. The weekend was perfect in so many ways, with memories forever of these special days. I often reflect, and sometimes it's no clear, all because of that invite frae Provost Mucketeer.